Welcome to What's Coming in Business Central 2024 Wave 2, aka BC25. Hey, I'm Eric, and Microsoft just came out with their list of what they're planning for the next release, for the next wave, for BC version 25. So now we actually surpassed the year with the version number. So we had these two magic versions where we got version 23 in 2023, we got version 24 in 2024, but now we surpassed. So it's a fast moving train, right? I still remember BC whatever version 14, that's like 10 versions ago, 11 versions ago. So it's going fast. Anyway, Microsoft has come up with a list, and as usual, let's take a look at the list together. It's right here. If I remember it, then there's a link below to this page. So as usual, Microsoft are grouping things, and the first thing is the application stuff, and we'll run through this, but there are better sources than me on the application, so I'm just gonna highlight what I find interesting. Use new reports and data for financial reporting, probably fine. Number 2 here is very exciting. Manage subscription billing and revenue and expense recognition. I can't say that word. That's a new module. That's kind of exciting. So the reality is, including my own life, is that a lot of things have changed in how we do business. So subscriptions are a thing now, and Business Central couldn't really do subscriptions. There were some apps in App Source that would help you do it. I built a subscription app at Summit last year, live coding on stage, building an app. That was fun. So I guess Microsoft saw that and thought, if he can do that in 90 minutes, we can add a new module that does the same thing. The new module comes with contracts for which you do recurring billing for items and services, billing schedules for flexible parameters that cater to typical use cases for recurring billing, usage-based billing, automatic billing, deferral integration, revenue recognition based on billing schedules, contract updates, the whole shebang. This is going to be great. This is going to be very cool, and I look forward to this. A whole new module. That's kind of exciting. Integrate field service with service management. Yeah, probably fine. We started the field service integration, came in BC24. I have not played with that yet, but it's nice to see more and more dynamics actually working with dynamics. Archive service management documents, nice. Review item availability in field service work orders, makes sense. Export posted sales invoices to Shopify. Yeah. Replenish items for projects, yeah. Reconcile payment transaction in Shopify with invoices, makes sense. So a lot of good things here that will improve productivity. Use directed put away and pick warehouses with projects. Well, that's so the jobs module now. Projects have been lacking for, I'm gonna say, decades. I'm not sure that is entirely fair, but decades, with missing a lot of the functionality that we gained in the other modules. And it's nice to see that with the rename, I still consider myself the godfather of that rename. Now the module is kind of getting revitalized and getting some love, and that's very nice. Capture data from eDocs with Azure AI Document Intelligence. So I think this is one of the areas where AI can really help us, because it's very good at text, right? And reading an invoice and understanding what's on an invoice and stuff like that, and turning that into understandable data. That is a no-brainer for AI. And I think what we see where you have, like with Continia, for instance, where you have to create templates, and this is where on the page something is, and this is where something else is, and so on. Eventually that will go away, because you just feed a random invoice into the AI and ask it to read it and extract all the information, and the AI will do that without us having to come up with all sorts of old-fashioned regions and defined fields and stuff like that. So looking forward to that. Add invoices and receipt documents to e-documents in bulk. I have not played with the e-document module yet. That's a kind of European thing, and here in Canada we do like paper and paying with checks and stuff like that. Import export product info using Shopify meta fields. Well, that seems like a no-brainer also. So the next section, Copilot and AI innovation. This wave expand on our first Copilot capability, marketing text suggestions. Well, that was kind of a couple of waves ago, right? Boosting productivity for a broader set of small, medium business roles. I just love marketing talk. But hey, the Copilot list is long. Suggest number series with Copilot. I think this was actually born out of the hackathon, the AI hackathon that was done. I'm not sure. And if you hear a dog, that is my dog probably interacting with Amazon delivery or something like that. Create number series for purchase module. Yeah. I'm not. I still don't understand why this is necessarily an AI exercise, because it's kind of a well-defined target. Anyway, chat with Copilot and learn to use install add-on apps. That's very exciting. So the whole in some countries, I'm going to say, and that's basically the US as far as I understand, you have to chat with Copilot, and currently in BC24 it's rather limited what you can actually chat about. So if it can look into app source and know stuff about apps and so on, that would be cool. I'm looking forward to see that. Also as an app developer, right? Summarize any record with Copilot. So the current, again, BC24, the current chat with Copilot thing has no clue what's on the screen. There's a couple of places it works, and other places has no clue what's on the screen. So I think that would be nice. So looking forward to play with that. Experience enhancement to analysis assist with Copilot. That's probably the best Copilot so far in the existing BC24 is the help building views in the analysis view. So cool, that gets even more love. Start using Copilot without having to set things up. So right now I think you have to click yes at least, and that you want to do it. Without requiring any one-time administrative setup. So they're saying that you don't have to click yes to use it, because it's kind of just a one-click thing. And maybe they just turn on all the capabilities by default. I'm not sure about that one. Create sales line easily with Copilot. So this is one where if the system is truly AI, it could be rather cool if it could look at old history and saying, this customer use in figure out like AI saying, this customer is usually buys this item in January, so let's suggest that or stuff like that. But this might be something completely different. So I have to look at that at some point. Automated test for your Copilot extensions with the Business Central Test Toolkit. Yeah, that makes sense. So keep on going. Country and region. We made Business Central available in more countries and regions around the world in this wave. I think that they're starting to run out of countries, to be honest. It's 160 something, I think, the last time I looked. Start using integration with RS for 1099 submissions. Wow. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Start using e-document framework localized for Germany. So the e-documents started mainly in Denmark, I think. So nice to see that. Enable additional countries and regions. I don't know if there's actually a list here. There's not. But as an app developer on app source, you have to go in and tell your what regions, what countries your app is available in. Once in a while I see, okay, now there's 2 more, 3 more, 5 more, 6 more. So they keep adding countries, which is cool. One thing that's important to understand here is that they're not necessarily adding localizations. A country and a localization is not the same thing. So they add some country, and then what's actually available there is just the W1 version, the worldwide version of Business Central. So it's not like they're adding your country and that means that they support every local thing that goes on in that country. They add countries, they do not necessarily add localizations. Very important. Anyway, now we're getting to the meat of things, development. And this is a nice list for once. Last couple of versions when this came out, the list was like empty almost. Set up easier in-client performance profiling with rules. Nice. I have already done some videos on the performance profiler. Use it a lot, especially when we have a customer saying, oh, this thing, something, and then start the profiler, do your thing, and send us the file. Super nice way of doing this. The next one, if you have followed anything online, you might have run into this. Use the ternary operator while coding in AL language. So for the record, I'm against this. I think this is a bad addition to AL. This is a thing from C, and let's see if here is. So you can kind of embed a if statement into an assignment with a question mark and a colon. So you have an expression, question mark, the true statement, colon, the false statement. So your variable equal the expression. If that's true, your variable will become this. And actually bad that this is then a text example. I think this is a leftover from C when when keystrokes matter and dense code means better code. AL is a verbose language. I think this is a mistake on Microsoft's part in adding this to the language. But they don't ask me, so it's there. Pull extension source from GitHub when opening Visual Studio Code from the web client. So the idea is that you might, when you're doing something, we got the open this page in VS Code from the inspect pane. But what if that page comes from an extension that has been has a resource policy applied to it, so you can't actually see the code? Then now you can, in the app.json, you can add a link to the repo where the code is located, so then it can use that link to actually get you somewhere nice. I guess there's a use case for this. To be honest, I think that if I'm in this situation and I know this app, then I already have that repo cloned on my machine and would rather open it in there than going to the hoops of cloning a new thing and so on. What I would love, and actually let me click on it. Maybe now I'm pretending that open source in VS Code. Yeah. So the one thing that I have found myself missing, and this is pure laziness, I admit that, is the get me a launch.json configuration for the thing I'm in right now. That's all I need basically. So I can go in and I can add that to my launch.json in the whatever project I have already on my machine, instead of having to type the, if this is a client sandbox, which this typically will be, then I copy paste in the tenant ID and all that good stuff. You can just get, hey, give me the launch.json configuration. That would be nice. I don't think I would use this because I already have this on my machine. I don't need to have another version of the repo sitting. The next one is interesting. Using this keyword for code unit self-reference. So code units more and more are actually just an object as a variable, which poses, so you can pass it as a variable, which works fine. You can also, you have the include sender on events, so you can get a code unit in and nice things like that. But you cannot self-reference the code unit. So we don't have a current code unit, so it's hard to self-reference and pass yourself as a parameter, for instance. But you can now, because there is a new keyword called this, and I don't know, there's no code example in here, but now you can pass yourself, which is kind of nice. Restore extension if published from Visual Studio Code fails. So think about extensions. We have all these dependencies. One extension is dependent on another and so on. And what happens during the process is that depending on if you wanna, you can update an app in the middle of the dependency tree. And Microsoft will do some magic, and so when this succeeds, everything's fine. But when it fails, sometimes you will end up with other apps uninstalled that did not have to be uninstalled. So as far as I understand this, they will break less while deploying an extension from Visual Studio Code, which is part of a graph of installed extension on the target environment. First level dependent extensions are uninstalled and unpublished in order to be recompiled once the extension has been deployed. However, if the deployment from Visual Studio Code fails, for example, due to a compilation issue on the server, remember, an app is actually compiled twice. It's compiled in Visual Studio Code to verify that it seems right, and then the app file itself does not contain anything compiled. So when you send the app file to the server, then the app is compiled again, and now C# code is generated based on because the AL compiler is actually the transpiler, so it translates AL to C#. So potentially at that point, something can come up that was not caught by the local compiler. So you can have an issue where, for instance, if your symbols on your local projects are not exactly the same as the symbols on the server, you might run into that your app is fine on on your machine, then you upload it, and then there's a field missing on the server or stuff like that. The server is left with an incomplete graph of installed extension. This results in unnecessary manual work and to redeploy the previous installed extension in the correct order. With this release, Visual Studio Code now tries to restore the previous extension state, removing the need for manual work in most cases. Yeah, exactly as I said. So nice. Thank you. This is what we need. Used improved features for report documents. And that's pure marketing talk. Use improved features for. So what is this? Well, let's take a look. The following improvements are available for the word layout feature. You can use sections in word layouts even when you use the word merge data and property. This unlocks the ability to change layout properties such as margins or orientation or columns inside your word layout. Also, you can use different watermarks for different parts of the layout. From the report layout page, you can download a word layout template for a report. The report template makes it easier to convert an RDL layout or a custom supplied Word file into a word layout for report. Nice. And then the last one is super interesting. A new Word add-in lets you control conditional visibility of text tables or table rows columns. It's like an after. This is the most important part, clearly the most important part. So allow me to read perhaps way more into this than it actually is. But it sounds like Microsoft is starting to realize that it's actually a super crappy experience of building report layouts. So we need some help, and the only place we can actually add the help is inside Word. So we need to make sure that we can give the user a better experience of building these layouts. And the way you extend an Office product is to create an add-in. If you remember my video from, I don't know, where I created an Excel add-in that could do AL. So this is the I'm super psyched for this. This is very, very interesting. Yeah, you know, I started a report designer because I thought that all this is just not this, but the current experience is just too crappy. Sorry, Microsoft. And maybe it's gonna be better. I'm looking forward to see that. Super. Package resource. Here's another great one. Package resources and extensions and access from AL. So right now you have the app, but let's say you want to supply a config package. I actually working on an app right now where I need to supply a config package, and the only way I can do that is put it on a web server. Not the only way, but the one of the main ways of doing this is putting the app file on a web server somewhere and then download it as needed. There's a cowboy hack where you actually put the resource as an image in a control add-in, and then you get the image through UI. The problem with that is that then you have to have a control add-in and put it on the screen in order to grab the thing, and that might not always be the right spot, because what if you need the data in an upgrade code unit? What if you need the data in some other places where there's not actually UI available? So I'm very interested in this. This would help me a lot. I can see that a lot of things would be much easier by doing this. More stuff comes as JSON, and being able to supply like demo data or whatever. That's awesome. Run code action for file project or workspace. I think Android's already did this, but you know, the with record, and then you don't have to specify record dot in front of stuff. The with statement is slowly going away. I have never been a fan of that. So you haven't really seen that on anything I have done on the channel. But now we can run it globally. Type testing and casting operators for interfaces. Let's see. So so you can now view is and as, and the idea is that when you have interfaces, something can be more than one thing. So in some cases you have to specify what it is. So if you have something that is based on multiple interfaces and so on, you have to be able to, in order to be a strongly typed language, and in some cases you have to specify what it is that you're working on. Let's see if there's an so in this case we here they do it towards a variant, which is also fair enough. So what is the variant? I think this is something that we probably need to do a video on at some point. But it's a necessary thing when we suddenly have these. It's not really multiple classes, but something can be more than one thing. Goes together with the extend AL interfaces. So now you can. Let's see if there's a good example in here. This probably is. We have two interfaces, and now we have another interface that extend these two. So this interface IFO bar, when you implement that, then you need to implement all three. So you need to implement whatever in this plus whatever interfaces this one extends. So here's a new subtle change that you can extend one thing will extend more than another thing. So you can imagine actually, and now I'm just making stuff up that will never happen, but you can create a page extension that would extend more than one page. So if you need to add the same field to multiple things, you could a girl can wish. Extend and customize profiles from other extensions. Same story, that now we can also extend a profile, which is nice. Okay, we're closing on half an hour. Let's see what we have left. We have governance and administration. Manage environment updates more flexible. So this is super interesting. Let me just show that. Yeah, so right now we have major and minor updates, and Microsoft has some, hey, you got to upgrade, and otherwise we'll do it. And I think there is a maturity in the platform and stuff like that Microsoft is not necessarily you gotta update. We don't want to run this old crap anymore. We gotta be on the newest one. And then they say, okay, no, it's good. The old versions are very good. We have no issues in you staying back on the last major for 5 months now instead of 3 months. And you can decide not to apply CUs. Optional minor update. This change allows administrators to choose when and whether to implement minor updates based on their needs and schedule. So you can basically go back to just upgrading once every 6 months now. That's kind of interesting. It's getting exciting to see how that plays out. But I think this is a a result of the maturity of the platform, right? The no pan. Oh, we need to upgrade because stuff breaks. No, it's a great platform. It actually works very well. Micro record links and nodes for cloud migration tooling. I think somebody in a very isolated room looked at record links, but they do not make any sense anymore because they are linked to local file, and now we're in the cloud, so we cannot use the link to local files, and you cannot link a file from a web client, and so we do not migrate. I imagine that's the thought process for not including them. That's not how the real world works. So there's multiple apps and solutions where people are migrating the record links because they need it. So now Microsoft is doing it too. Thank you. Manage per tenant extension admin center. Natural. So we got that we can manage the global apps, App Source and Microsoft apps in App Center, but all the other ones we couldn't. So now there's only multiple places where you need to go to do the same thing. So yeah, no brainer. I think that is fair, and that's a good idea. View app compatibility with future versions in Admin Center. So we get the emails. Hey, this app is not compatible with the next version. But then you go into whatever view you have in the system, and it's not flagged, right? It would be nice, and let's see if they have a screenshot or say anything. They don't, but I will assume that we now get a column in Admin Center. Where's this, or is this in the Admin Center? Yeah. So we get a column saying, hey, this app is not compatible with version 25.2. Microsoft already had the information. They do all the work, and then it's lost in emails that nobody can read. So it's super nice if we get that into the system. Good idea. Get notified about issues with job queue background processing. Thank you. The reason for the is that Microsoft did a lot of changes on job queue in 24.1 or 24.2. So job queue stopped working in a lot of cases, and spent a lot of time on support for this. So maybe this is a because they upgraded and made the job queues better, but it introduced a couple of bugs at the same time. But I think this, being able to trigger and Power Automate flow when something fails, and then you can set up emails, notification, whatever. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like it. Get list of manageable that word, environments for Microsoft Entra apps. Using the new Admin Center API endpoint, Microsoft Entra apps authorized in the Admin Center can get a list of environments for which the app is authorized. This capability reduces the manual overhead associated with maintaining environments list and facilitates the automation of repetitive administrative tasks, enhancing operation efficiency for partners. Nice. Yeah. I'm not sure I completely. So this is just the app registration that you can manage, but I thought we already had something like that. Okay, I'll have to check that out when we get closer. And the very last one, and actually see some of these are slated for December, so they are not part of BC 25.0. Again, this is a wave, so this is the stuff they want to do over the next 6 months, and again, that's why the changes in job queue came in 24.12 and not 24.0. So it was not ready, then it was in the next CU. The last one, support IPv6 for enhanced security and scalability, February 25. I have not looked into this at all. So the supply of IPv4 addresses is limited and will eventually run out. So starting in 2024, Wave 2, Business Central supports IPv6 addresses. I guess this is mainly for on-prem, because whatever they do behind the scene in the cloud is on internal IP addresses anyway, so that shouldn't really be a matter. Yeah, maybe somebody from Microsoft tell me why, if this has any impact on cloud. Let's see, the last bit is registration, and no, there's more. Wow, this is a long list. Sorry guys, this turns into a mammoth video. I'm thinking I'm just gonna skip most of these. Use multiple VAT numbers for a customer. Sustainability scorecard. So I am in Canada, as you know, and we do not have any requirements of sustainability accounting yet. So this module has all these features are mostly unknown to me. But it's good to see that BC is upfront with stuff like this. This will eventually come to even a backwater place like Canada. So nice to see that it's happening. I have no idea how to use it or what to do with it. Using embedded reporting and data analysis. Use embedded Power BI reports out of the box. Nice. So we got a lot of new Power BI reports, so that's good. And then how many more sections are there in this document? There's one left, guys, then I'll let you go. User experiences. Access keys with key tips in more languages. So if you hit the Alt key, then it will give you a hint to what keys you can type. I recently did a video on shortcut keys, and that's something different. So these are system generated shortcut keys. Also very much for accessibility. If you have trouble operating a mouse, then there are ways to operate most of the system through the keyboard, and that's super nice. Use drag and drop on file upload to attach multiple files. So yeah, instead of just adding one, but the code behind the scene, of course, needs to be able to receive more than one file. Resize columns even when personalization isn't enabled. Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing that if you're on a roll where personalization is turned off, then you cannot resize your columns. It's probably an oops. So that's very nice. That's a good little UI thing. I think that's it. I think we made it to the bottom of the list. So let me know in the comments below what of these things you are most excited about. Let me know about which one you want me to do videos on. There's so many things in a new release, so quite often I only cover the bits that I find interesting, or that I encounter what I want to use. But if 100 of you guys put a comment and say, explore the carbon tax stuff, then for sure I will do videos on the carbon tax stuff. But let me know in the comments below, and check out this video. That's actual AL hacking, not just me trying to figure out what Microsoft's gonna do over the next 6 months. Check this one out. I'll see you there. Take care. Bye.